Masters of the Universe classic action figures came in lots of shapes, styles, colors, variations, everything from robotic elephant firefighters to Deadpool ripoff hijacking the brand style. Well, of all the characters in Masters of the Universe Classic, no figure was redder, more dragon, and more Granomir-like than Granomir. He was quite literally the biggest figure we ever did in the line, and he has a lot of interesting stories behind him. Whether you love dragons because of their scaly bellies, their ability to blow fire, eat your head off, scare you in nightmares, or just because they're really cool fantasy tropes, having Granomir in the line was a major victory and was not an easily well-tread road, to say the least. When I say that Granomir was the biggest figure in the line, well, you did have to stand him upright on his legs, but yeah, he kind of dwarfed almost every other figure, not just in Masters of the Universe Classics, but pretty much all of your toys. Now, he was designed to sit, but again, you could absolutely prop him up on both of his legs, and while he was a little wobbly, he could essentially Godzilla your Castle Grayskull. At this time, we didn't have the Castle Grayskull from Classics, but if you had the vintage one, yeah, Granomir was taller than vintage Castle Grayskull. So for those of you who don't know who Granomir is, he's the giant dragon, best known from Filmation, but he did also appear in the original mini-comics. And, well, he has two different flavors. He has hot red and, what's a good, puke green? No, not puke green. Lava green? Grass green? I don't know. He comes in red and green, okay? There's two different colors. But getting him into the line required a brand new slot. And once we had this slot that Granomir basically provided, we were able to maximize this for years to come, which is why it's always an awesome thing when you can find a new way to add a slot to an existing lineup. And essentially, it was a gift. Well, it was designed to be a Christmas item that you could buy for the He-Man fan in your life, shall we say. That's how we proposed the slot to management, saying that, look, the brand is doing really well, and we want another slot. Well, much like Yoda says about things that will forever dominate your destiny, once you have a new slot that's approved by management, you can kind of anniversary this slot every year, year on year. So getting a new slot is difficult. But once you have it, well, something like Granomir, who was a giant red dragon, his slot was anniversaried in following years, and we were able to use that for other large items that would be, quote-unquote, a Christmas gift for the Motu fan in your life. So things like the Battle Ram with Man-at-Arms used the same slot that was created for Granomir. That was also because the Wind Raider didn't do well, so we couldn't anniversary that slot. So yeah, the toy industry is a lot like that. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Once you have something that works, it's really easy to do it the following year. But if it doesn't work, well, then you lose it. So Granomir gave birth to the Christmas holiday gift slot. And yeah, once something sticks and basically performs well, it's kind of hard to unstick it. So we were going to take advantage of that, not just for Granomir, but for years to come. And it was awesome, because having a slot for a large item that we could produce at the end of the year as a holiday gift provided a lot of really cool toys for the Motu Classics collector. And having Granomir be the premier one was really exciting because it meant he was going to, well, get made, and we had a perfect rationale for doing it, because he obviously didn't fit into the regular standard Masters of the Universe Classic blister. I mean, the guy's huge. He dwarfs even, as I said, vintage Castle Grayskull. So he required a brand new box. He wouldn't fit even in the Titus or Megator box. And we went with a closed box simply because he was an expensive toy to do, and a closed box is the least expensive package you could do. So he was all set to march off to fandom and sit on your desk, climb on top of your Castle Grayskull, or otherwise really be a centerpiece at the time, which was the biggest item we'd ever done to date. Now, he did come in pieces that had to be assembled once you bought him. There were two inner blister trays. You pulled them out, and you basically clipped in the head, clipped the body together, clipped on the legs, clipped on the tail, the wings, and you could assemble your Granomir. Now, there was an issue, though, with the legs breaking. This wasn't because the legs weren't engineered correctly, or that, we were trying to save money, if you will, by using really cheap plastic. That's not true at all. The reason that some of the legs had some plastic that cracked, especially when you tried to assemble it, was simply because when Granomir was shipped from China, where he was produced, to the US, where he was distributed, well, during this shipment, there is a rapid change in temperature. Things get hot, things get cold. It's like a Kate Perry song, right? And because of this rapid change in temperature, there's a fluctuation in plastic quality, and it will cause plastic to become brittle. Now, there is an easy solution to this. Unfortunately, I didn't know it at the time. If I did, I would have told people. Essentially, you just have to wait 24 hours. So basically, when you get your Granomir, if you just take him out of the box and let him sit on your table for 24 hours, the temperature will regulate to where he is, and you can assemble it with no cracking. I wish I knew that then. I really do, because I could have explained that to fans and not had fans have to deal with a lot of issues of Granomir's leg occasionally breaking when he's assembled. So it was a matter of the plastic readjusting itself to a constant temperature. So that's why that happened. Alright, so let's move on from some icky news with Granomir to some of the cool stuff. So we got a brand new painting that Rudy did. He was the same artist that did the original Castle Grayskull art from the 1980s, as well as the first few maps that we did for subscribers. He's an amazing Motu artist, and it was great to have a brand new painting of such a huge character. Now, he did lose some accessories. Originally, Granomir was supposed to come with basically all of the weapons from the weapons rack, well, not the blaster, but all the pointy stabby things like the axes or the spears, except instead of being in silver, they were going to be colored gold, which, because dragons hoard things, and one thing you know about dragons is
I love gold.
And that's why the gold weapons are shown on his box art, because when we commissioned it from Rudy, that they were going to be with him. They were part of his accessory. And there was something else that was going to come with him that you'll notice behind the gold weapons that was also going to come with him, which is, again, why it's in the painting, because originally it did before it got costed out. So for those of you who watch my channel on a regular basis and have seen the tour of my sitting room as a Lego manifestation, well, one of the things I have over there in the corner behind me, which you can't see, let's kind of shift the camera around there so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. There we go. Books. I love books. I love books in toy form. I love books in reality. I definitely love books in toy form. Not that many action figures come with books, but when they do, I collect them. I also collect actual books, and I put action figures next to my books because, if you can take books and action figures and put them together, it's basically a recipe for a lot of happiness. And, it makes your house look more literate. I don't know. But I have read all those books, so, I don't just put books on a shelf to decorate. Anyway, books. Yep, Granomir was supposed to come with books. A big stack of books, actually. And when I say a big stack of books, I'm not kidding around. They were beautifully sculpted by the Four Horsemen. It was an original sculpt as opposed to the accessories, the blades, which were a repaint. Now, we've done books before, we being Matty Collector and Mattel. This was what we did for Ghostbusters. But yeah, the new books for Granomir, just a little bit bigger, just a little bit. They were basically going to dwarf our previous Pile O books. Who knew the Horsemen were going to get to sculpt multiple piles of books in their sculpting career? So yeah, they were going to be as tall as a 6-inch figure. Or if you use the standard measurement for toys, which is 1 Akbar, you can see that they were basically a little bit more than a 6-inch Akbar or double the size of a 3 3/4 Akbar. And he would have looked really cool because they would have gone right up, to his hand, so he could have, protected his books or loaned them out to different action figures. Maybe Molar needed a book on dentistry. Who knows? But the lending library of Granomir was never to be because, well, he was really expensive to tool and we couldn't afford it. It was as simple as that. And just tooling up the books later on for a weapons pack seemed kind of like an odd thing. Well, it does live on in my personal collection right there under Stephen Hawking and behind Jon Snow to remind myself of the importance of knowledge.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
And that too. Alright, so as I noted earlier, Granomir comes in 2 delicious colors. He comes in lime green and fiery red. And while he was going to be gigantic and bigger than even the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, well, we still had to figure out what color to do him in. Originally, his first appearance, chronologically, was in a mini-comic, although I believe he was created for Filmation, before he actually appeared in the minicomic. I don't know, Val Staples seems to know more about that than I do, so check out He-Man.org for all the facts. When he was put in the animated series, however, he did change to red. I'm guessing it's because it popped better. Again, check out He-Man.org. I don't know all the stuff about that. So the reason that he appeared on the map in green is because at the time, we thought we only had access to the mini-comics, which meant we had to do him in green. And that was the original idea. We were going to have a green Granomir. But by the time we actually got to doing the figure, we had acquired the rights to Filmation and all of the fun, wacky characters that come with that, which meant that we were no longer restricted to only doing Granomir in mini-comic green. We could explore doing him in red. And, well, we said, hey, you know what? Instead of us making this decision, let's let the fans make this decision, and we'll listen to what they have to say, because it's really fun when we get to do that. So the fans spoke, and they voted. The vote was at San Diego Comic-Con, at our fan panel. Everyone was handed a ticket as they left the fan panel. See, you had to stay till the very end to get that. No getting out early. And I know that attending San Diego Comic-Con is expensive, not just in terms of money, but in terms of time. And we wanted to reward fans who did that. I know not everyone can come out to San Diego Comic-Con, and yes, there were many fans that were not happy that the vote happened at San Diego Comic-Con, that they weren't able to attend, or, et cetera, but we did want to make San Diego Comic-Con special in that sense. And yeah, you know what? We can't make everyone happy all the time. It's just not going to happen. So we were at Comic-Con. If you stayed till the very end of the panel, you got a ticket, you put it in a box, and you voted for red or green. And lo and behold, the winner was red, like red by a long shot. But, green got some love too. So, mini-comic, Filmation. And eventually, he was done in green. Not by, well, it was still by Mattel, but I wasn't there. This was when I left Mattel, PowerCon did him in green. It was just a simple repaint of the existing red tool. There were no new parts, and they didn't add the books or the weapons, but fortunately we never showed those to anyone. Uh-oh, here comes Kiki Cat trying to get in on the video. I know, you love dragons. I get it. Alright, so yeah, if you wanted the green one, eventually you could get the green one, and that was cool, but we went with red first. Hey, nobody wins unless everybody wins, so if you wanted the green one, you couldn't make it to San Diego Comic-Con to vote, well, hey, now you had a green one too, thanks to the awesome guys at PowerCon. The figure was, like I said, an exact repaint. He got a really cool wash. Same box, just photoshopped in green. So basically, same exact thing, in and out. And he had to be assembled exactly the same with upper torso, lower torso, tail, etc., etc. I'm not going to do a separate video on this one, not only because I didn't work on it, but it's literally a repaint. It's the same toy. So if you have the red one, you have the green one, you have both, hey, lucky you. Now, you will notice that there is a similarity between Dragoman and Granomir. Not just both being the color red, but if you look at those wings there coming out of their back, well, they are the same thing. So the wings that went on Dragoman that snapped into his back, you'll notice that they are also the perfect size for Granomir. And a lot of fans were noticing this and like, whoa, that would be really a clever reuse of parts.
That was deliberate.
Well, yeah, that was intended, just like we knew we could use it for some of the other characters that had wings down the line. Lots of shared parts were used in Masters of the Universe Classics. In fact, these wings were supposed to be used for a Skelecon variant that was going to be single-carded, that you could make him the winged version or not attach the wings in that army build, but unfortunately that never got released. So yeah, we had other plans for the wings too. But sharing parts was part of the plan, and we also thought we could use the body for Granomir to do some of the other dragons for Masters of the Universe, whether Filmation or 2000X. There were quite a few dragons. Some were intelligent and talked, some just ran around like animals and, screeched. Unfortunately, we never got to this. Part of it just because the line sort of ended, but, he was an expensive figure to do. We also never got to do some of the effects we talked about. We said, could we include lightning effects, or could we include a flame that you could attach to his mouth, and that would recreate, the effect of a dragon spitting fire. But again, like the books and the weapons, they got costed out because he was a darn expensive figure to do. But we got to him. Granomir the Wise joined the line and opened up a new slot that would continue for years to come to bring more joy to more He-Man fans.